a cloudy morning, a small plane landed on a narrow dirt runway deep in the Amazon rainforest. The hum of the engine faded away, leaving only the constant buzz of insects and the faint rush of water somewhere far off. 4 passengers stepped out hesitantly. Lara, a young woman in her early 20s, her long brown hair tied back hastily, her eyes glowing with both excitement and unease. Beside her was Sam, a lanky young man with an old video camera slung over his shoulder, his ever-present grin making him seem as though nothing could truly scare him. Michael came next, broad-shouldered and serious, his heavy pack stuffed with tools and gear. Finally, there was John, the quietest of the group, scribbling something into his worn leather notebook as if the world around him already demanded documentation. Waiting for them was a short local man with weathered skin and sharp, watchful eyes. He stepped forward slowly and asked in broken English, "You explorers?" Lara nodded quickly, her voice steady but eager. "Yes, we're the team sent by the university. We need to reach the inner region of the forest where the rare flower is said to grow." The man studied them for a long moment before replying. "My name is Emilio. I will guide you, but you must listen to me. This forest is not like others." Sam chuckled and raised his camera. "Every jungle feels haunted to outsiders, doesn't it?" But Emilio's face remained hard, his voice low and certain. "No, this one is different. Here, the spirits do not like strangers." Lara tightened the straps of her bag and smiled firmly. "We won't harm anyone. We just want to study. Then we'll leave." The trek began. The trail was narrow, hemmed in by towering trees whose branches knitted together high above, shutting out the sun. Enormous leaves dripped with the remnants of last night's storm. The air was heavy, wet, so thick it felt like breathing water. As they moved deeper, the usual sounds of the jungle faded. No birdsong, no chatter of monkeys. Only the ceaseless drone of mosquitoes and the drip of water from leaf to leaf. After an hour, Michael wiped the sweat from his brow, panting. "This humidity, it's suffocating. I feel like I'm breathing liquid." Sam laughed, adjusting his camera. "Perfect for a documentary. Imagine it our footage, the first of its kind." But John, walking silently behind them, scribbled in his notebook. "The forest is too quiet. It feels as if it's watching us." By dusk, they reached the bank of a wide, dark river that reflected the gray sky above. They pitched their tents on the damp grass and lit a small fire. As the others ate from cans, Emilio sat apart, staring at the tree line. Lara broke the silence. "Emilio, do you know about the blood of the forest flower? Is it real?" His gaze fell to the flames. "It is real, but it is not just a flower. It is a curse. Those who seek it never return." Sam burst into laughter. "A campfire story. You must tell this to every tourist." But Emilio's expression didn't shift. He leaned closer to the fire and whispered, "I do not scare, I warn." Night fell, and rain began drumming heavily on the tents. The steady rhythm sounded like endless drums echoing through the jungle. They tried to sleep, but Lara remained awake, staring through a slit in the canvas. There, between the trees, something moved. A tall, thin shadow glided silently through the mist. Her breath quickened, her body froze. She called Sam to look, but when he crawled to the flap, the shadow was gone. John, before turning off his lantern, wrote one last line in his journal. "The forest is not empty. Something is watching." Thus ended the first day. Quiet, almost calm, but only the calm before the descent into darkness. A journey that would soon devour them, one by one. The team woke at dawn, but sleep had given them no rest. The rain had fallen all night. The ground beneath their tents muddy, heavy, alive. The air itself felt thick, pressing down on their lungs. Lara stepped outside, rubbing her tired eyes. The jungle was glistening, leaves dripping, mist wrapping the trees like a curtain that would never lift. Michael crouched over a small fire, desperate to keep it alive. Sam pointed his camera everywhere, at raindrops, at shadows. John wrote in his notebook, his face pale, sleepless. But Emilio, the guide, he stood apart, still, silent, afraid. Lara approached him. "What's wrong?" His answer was a whisper. "The jungle spoke last night. You didn't hear it?" Her chest tightened. "I heard something, maybe just the rain." But Emilio shook his head slowly. "No, not the rain. If you see a shadow here, it means the shadow has already seen you." Lara couldn't respond. She turned away, back to the others. By noon, they reached a moss-covered rock. Sam grinned, lifting his camera. Imagine it, a documentary. Our names remembered forever. John didn't look up. If we live to tell it. Then they saw it. Carvings on the bark of a tree. Deep, violent, wrong. Circles, faces, twisted smiles. Emilio touched the markings, then recoiled. Not human. Michael frowned. "What do you mean?" The guide's voice shook. "Warnings. We shouldn't be here." Lara forced a laugh. Gold symbols. Nothing more. But inside, she felt it. Those faces weren't random. They were smiling at her, and then it happened. Sam was gone. One moment he was right there, laughing, filming. The next dash nothing dot comma. His camera lay shattered in the mud. The last recording showed fragments. Sam's laughter, a sudden turn. A shadow, long, unnatural. Then black. Emilio's face drained of color. "They took him?" he whispered. Lara's voice cracked with anger. "Who? Who took him?" But the jungle gave no answer. Only silence. A silence that breathed. Rain poured suddenly, heavy, violent. As if the forest itself wanted them gone. Michael gripped his knife. John slammed his notebook shut. And Lara, she stared into the shadows and whispered, "I won't leave." Not without the flower. The jungle had claimed its first victim, and it was only the beginning. The team woke with the first rays of morning, but sleep had given them no comfort. The rain had not stopped all night, and the ground beneath their tents had turned into thick, sticky mud, while the humidity made the air feel heavy and oppressive, pressing down on every part of their bodies. Lara stepped out of her tent, rubbing her eyes and trying to shake off the fatigue. The trees glistened with wet leaves, and the thick mist wrapped the place like a curtain that could never be lifted, making everything look mysterious and terrifying. Michael sat close to the small fire he had struggled to light, blowing gently to keep the weak flame alive, trying to provide them with some warmth and light. Meanwhile, Sam had already turned on his camera, filming every movement, the raindrops, the rustling leaves, every shadow that passed near them. John sat on a small rock, writing in his notebook with a tense hand. He seemed to have not slept a moment all night, as if something was chasing his thoughts and demanding to be documented. Emilio, the local guide, stood silently at the edge of the camp. His eyes darted nervously between the trees, watching every small movement, as if something was watching them back. Lara approached him cautiously. "What's wrong? You look extremely tense." He answered in a low voice, almost drowned by the sound of rain. "The jungle speaks at night? Didn't you hear the sounds?" Lara froze for a moment, then shook her head slowly. "I heard something, maybe just a shadow or an illusion from the rain." But Emilio shook his head slowly, his eyes never leaving the trees. "No, it is not illusions. If you see a shadow here, it means that the shadow has already seen you first." Lara could not respond. She felt the weight of his words on her chest. She turned back to the group and took her place next to Michael. Lara could not respond. She felt the weight of his words on her chest. She turned back to the group and took her place next to Michael. After a quick breakfast, they began preparing for the journey deeper into the forest. The path grew more difficult. Tree roots tangled under their feet, mud stuck to their shoes, and the sound of the nearby river mixed with the wind, creating an eerie echo. Each step felt like a decisive choice, and every rustle of leaves or movement of branches caused unbearable tension. By midday, they stopped to rest at a large moss-covered rock. Sam lifted his camera, smiling. "Imagine this. Maybe we're making a documentary here. Our names will be remembered forever." John didn't look up, staring at his notebook, and said coldly, "If we survive..." Sam laughed to break the silence, but the laugh vanished quickly when they all noticed something strange carved on one of the trees, strange deep carvings on the trunk. Intertwined circles, twisted lines like faces, smiling mockingly. Emilio approached slowly and touched the carving carefully, then withdrew his hand immediately. "These are not made by ordinary humans," Michael asked, worried. "What do you mean?" His voice trembled slightly as he replied, "These are warning signs telling us that we have entered a place we should not be in." They exchanged silent glances, each trying to appear calm. Lara tried to steady herself. Maybe just ancient symbols, something a tribe carved centuries ago. But inside she felt something different. Those carved faces were looking at her, as if they knew her, as if they were smiling at her specifically. The group continued moving with difficulty, and the deeper they went, the darker it became, even though the sun was still in the sky. The tree leaves blocked most of the light, making the day seem like a permanent dusk. The silence became suffocating. No bird songs, no animal movements. Only the heavy sound of their footsteps and their anxious breathing. Then something happened that they did not expect. Sam disappeared. He had been walking directly behind Michael, laughing and filming. For a moment they looked ahead, and when they turned back, he was gone. The camera lay on the ground, its lens cracked, but it was still recording. The last footage showed only fragments. Sam's laughter, a sudden turn toward the trees, a long shadow moving quickly. Then blackness. Emilio's face went pale and he whispered,